Good morning, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader and welcome to the Model Railway Room. Today we're going to do a short update about my city yard layout and just discuss a few of the ideas that I've had. So let's get going. Okay, so I haven't actually done much modelling in the last week. Obviously last weekend I did the video from the Model Railway exhibition, which has just gone mental. I think I've reached about 2,000 views, which for me is an awful lot. And I've picked up quite a lot of new subscribers. So thank you very much to anybody who's recently subscribed. Please, let me know your thoughts about the channel, any bits that you want to see, please put it in the comments. Always happy to hear from you. I've had some interesting chats with people in the last few days as I had an interesting comment come through. Someone disliked the fact that I called myself a railroader because I'm British and therefore I should be a railway modeller. Well, it's my channel. It's what I decided to call myself in reference to the fact that I model American railroads. Though, admittedly, the New York and Atlantic calls itself a railway. So I could go either way, but there we go. But yes, big thanks to all of the comments that I've had from various people through Facebook and Instagram, etc. I've had some really, really nice comments about the channel. And people being very supportive. So thank you so much for that. The main thing that I wanted to talk about is in relation to the location of the layout. Not that it's in a small bedroom in my house, but whereabouts is it actually set? Now, I've always said that this could be any city in probably northeastern America, maybe a little bit in the Midwest. But everybody kind of knows that it's set somewhere on Long Island. And I've been looking at whereabouts it could be. I don't want it to, it's not realistic. It's not prototypical. It's kind of at best a proto freelance. And I just wanted to make sure that, if I give it a location, it's somewhere that's kind of believable. So I've been looking at maps of the Long Island Railroad, and what I found is that there is a branch. Now I'm going to put a picture up. This is courtesy of Railfan and Railroad magazine. This is where I found it online, so all credit to them. And this picture shows a proposed passenger line going from Queens all the way down to Bay Ridge in Brooklyn. Now, the section from Richmond in Queens, which is roughly where Fresh Pond Yard is, which is the CSX New York and Atlantic interchange, all the way down to Bay Ridge, which actually now terminates at the 65th Street Yard, which is part of the New York and New Jersey Railroad, who do the barge pickups and drop-offs at the last barge slip on Long Island. That railroad is a freight-only railroad. Bit of history behind it. It was originally owned by the New Haven Railroad. They closed it to passengers in the 1920s, but kept it on as a freight-only line until 1968, and then it just lay dormant for about 30 years, and then it was handed over to the New York and Atlantic, and they now run it and they interchange with the New York and New Jersey. Looking at this line, it runs through part of Queens and then Brooklyn, and I just thought maybe this is where City Yard is. And bearing in mind, City Yard isn't its permanent name. So I've been looking at the maps, and first off, most of this line is in cutting. It goes through cuttings. A lot of it is parallel to the New York subway, which is raised up above it, because as you know, certainly in the Brooklyn area, most of the New York subway is on elevated tracks. But there are a couple of areas where businesses, rail served businesses, are joined to it. And in those areas, it's kind of like the cutting kind of melts away. So either the line goes up slightly or whatever. And it's on ground level with the rest of the area. So my thoughts have been that City Yard is a yard just off of the Bay Ridge branch of the New York and Atlantic Railroad. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of what they call in science fiction a retcon. And that is I'm going to go back and I'm going to change history just a little bit, just so that I can do things my way. So again, this is proto-freelancing. So what would have happened if in 1968 the New Haven hadn't shut the branch? And it probably would have had very infrequent service. But then come the 1970s, after the Penn Central bankruptcy, it would have become part of Conrail. And Conrail probably would have run it, again with an infrequent service, right through to the 1990s, when Conrail was sold off. And the bit of Conrail in this area would have gone to CSX. Hence the fact that CSX interchanged with the New York and Atlantic at Fresh Pond, because CSX got those bits of track. So the Bay Ridge branch would have become part of CSX, but CSX may not have wanted it. So in my little rewrite of history, the Bay Ridge branch never completely closed. But in the 1990s, CSX took it over, but then immediately, through a deal with the City of New York, the State of New York, etc., did what happened in real life, and it got handed to the New York and Atlantic Railroad to run. So it's still part of the New York and Atlantic Railroad. But in my world, because CSX have given it to them on an extra long lease, you do get some CSX trains running through and interchanging within the yard. And that then gives me my kind of permission to run CSX trains as well as New York and Atlantic trains into City Yard. It's fiction. It doesn't happen in real life, but then a lot of what we do on our models doesn't happen in real life. But I've given it a plausible reason why it could happen. But there's just a few tweaks I might need to make to this layout to make it plausible. So we're going to go over and I'm going to show you what I mean. So here we are over at the layout. We're at the end where trains come in. So if I just turn this, you can see over here my bridge. So if we're thinking that this is coming off of the Bay Ridge branch, then this is the interchange with the main line in inverted commas. So the Bay Ridge branch is over here somewhere. If you can see where my railway station master's hats are, that's kind of northbound going up to Fresh Pond. Southbound will be going behind us, but the trains peel off and they come in here. Now, obviously, it's a single line, so trains could be coming, could be being propelled in, being shoved in backwards, or they could come in forwards. So there's two reasons for it, and there's two ways, sorry, for them to come in. So that creates a little interest in itself. But what I said is that the branch itself is in cutting, but when you see the couple of yards, they are on, as it were, ground level. But I want to represent a little bit of that cutting. So where our tenement buildings are, what I've decided is over here, I'm going to build an embankment and raise them up probably just to about that height. And that still gives them plenty of space above with the back seam. Now, I could just do the cutting up to here, but what I've decided is I'm going to continue it all the way along the back. And this road is going to enter the seam through a tunnel. Now, there are no grade crossings on the Bay Ridge branch. In fact, as far as I can tell, within the city part of New York on Long Island, within Queens and Brooklyn, I can't find any grade crossings at all. So I'm stretching the point here, but what I'm saying in my head is that traffic comes down from the embankment behind here somewhere, and then gets into this part across the track. So that gives me the reason that I can still have a railroad crossing. So there'll be embankment up to here. There will be a bridge of some description across the top, or even the top of a tunnel, because this road could come in through a short tunnel, which actually would make life quite interesting and easy. And then we're going to continue the embankment across. I'm going to shorten the siding over at the factory just a little bit, and then it'll end where the back scene is. And that means that I can have a bit more of a visual break along here, with things not just ending on the back scene. It does mean that this building over here is surplus to requirements. I'm not that worried about it. I've actually had that kit for about 20 years, and it's put together with tape at the moment just so that I had something temporary in there. But what it does mean is that over here, where we've got the little bit of street, which is, obviously the road disappears, but we're going to continue the pavement. That means that I can still have some businesses along there. And also I'm thinking a bit further up, putting in a car entrance to the yard. So that can, that will then work quite nicely. That's the plan. Obviously, if anybody has any comments, please let me know. Right, that's my update done. I hope everybody understood roughly what I was saying there. I'm quite enthused about it because it actually gives me an area that I can just research a little bit. Obviously, the businesses are completely fictitious, and they are made up of bits that I have seen in photographs and on videos, etc., etc. But they're all plausible. They're all completely plausible. And, people will get in touch with me, I'm sure, that know the Bay Ridge branch, and will say, well, yes, there are one or two rail serve businesses, but it's not much. You don't have a yard like this. I know we don't. I know that this is completely fictitious and it's made up and it's in my head. But it just gives that little plausible reason for having it. And I think a lot of what we do as railway modelers is, we pick an area that we like and we kind of put something in that wasn't there, but could plausibly be there. And I think, that then gives us license to run things the way that we want to. Also, given my retcon of history, gives me a reason why I can put in things like, the fact that CSX has run through on here, which it wouldn't do in real life. But it's, as I always say to people, and many people have said to me in recent days, rule number one, it's your model railway. You do what you want with it. And that's what I'm doing here. Anyway. Just a couple of quick updates. So, as you know, last weekend I was at the Mid-Essex Model Railway Club's annual Model Railway exhibition in Shenfield in Essex. Lovely day, some really great layouts there. Big thanks to everybody that was involved. I've spoken to my mate Ken, who owns John Dutfield Model Railways in Chelmsford, who is also, I believe he's the chair of the club, or if he's not, he's certainly one of the head honchos, and was key in organising the exhibition. As I said, the video's done really, really well. We've got about 2,000 views, so that makes it one of my top videos. I don't think anybody's going to beat my Romford to Upminster branch line video, which is, I think, about 6,000 views at the moment. But, it's doing quite well. Anyway, talk about giving stuff in advance. So here we go. This is the advert for next year's Mid-Essex Model Railway exhibition. It's going to be on the 21st of September, same place in Shenfield, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Obviously, a little bit closer to the time, I will put another shout out to it. But also, in about a month's time, that forward so you can see it on the 28th of October, we have the Basildon Model Railway exhibition. This is going to be held in the Wick Community Centre in Wickford on the 28th. Again, 10 till 5. I haven't been to the Basildon. I don't know whether this is the first one actually since the pandemic. But it always used to be at a school in Langdon, but they've moved to a new venue for this year. Definitely going to be there. Be good to see what layouts they're fielding. They've got a few really good ones of their own. The one time I've done an exhibition where I've been an exhibitor, I took my small layout and I was next door to one of their layouts. And a couple of times I went off to, I don't know, go and have a look around. And my wife, who we shall call Mrs. British Railroader, operated the layout and every time got into trouble, and the guys from Basildon helped her out. So they're a nice bunch. They're a nice friendly bunch, as all of us railway modellers tend to be. So there we go. That's the update for City Yard. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. Obviously, I'd love to hear from you if you have any thoughts, comments about the name of the layout and the location of the layout. I still haven't come up with a name. Now that I've got an area, I might do a bit more of a Google Map search just to see what the places are called around there. I know there's one area called East New York, which is where the line goes through a tunnel leading up to basically up to Fresh Pond Yard. So you know, there's a lot of potential. Could call it East Brooklyn. This could be East Brooklyn Yard. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, thanks again for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe. And this is Steve, the British Railroader, saying goodbye from the Model Railway Room. Bye-bye.